You can't get closer to fighting crime than that without having a badge. I've been at Verafin for almost a decade. Although the details and the minutia of our daily work changes and what we're focused on, on a day-to-day basis changes, really we're just solving problems. Just the problems change. For me, with the role that I'm in now, my purpose is to look at our employees and the problems that they come to us with and make decisions and help support them in ways that balance the needs of the business with the needs of the team and the needs of the individual. We're unified in a shared purpose, which at Verafin is to fight crime. Some people may think that it's, this dark, scary figure looming in an alley, grooming a child or something like that. It may be like that, but it may not be like that. It's really a crime against a body, a self, a human, where a human is commodified. We live in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, small town, small province, on the edge of Canada, and people don't realize that it happens here in our province. If someone is moved against their will out of St. John's into a smaller town, that is human trafficking, right? If it's something that they're not giving consent for. Most recently, out of the war of Ukraine, we had human traffickers who were posing as rescuers and helpers so that when women and children were fleeing their war-torn towns and safe spaces and going down these, potentially safe corridors to get help, traffickers were scooping them up and doing God knows what with them, which is absolutely terrifying. So if you think about it from that scope, it could be one person being moved from small town to small town. It can be a huge endeavor that involves multiple people, huge criminal networks, and a lot of money. So it's a very vast, complicated, multifaceted problem. And I think that it's really important for people to understand that when they're trying to detect it, trying to create awareness, and trying to educate. I've always been a writer, and I went on a writer's retreat, and the facilitator there, who was an award-winning writer, said, write about stuff that makes you ask questions, stuff that provokes you, stuff that makes you angry or mad and all of these things. There were these articles in the local media about horrible things that have been done to sex workers here in St. John's. And like many, I was absolutely appalled, and I had so many emotions about it. And I didn't see the voices of these individuals anywhere in the news articles. And I thought, how must it feel for them to not have their voices in this topic that so many people are talking about right now? And so I just started asking questions, and I thought about what the facilitator said at that writer's retreat, and I said, this is what I'm going to research. And that was it. People who are involved in this world, people who are victims of human trafficking, survivors of human trafficking, they're people just like you and I. There are people who live and work and exist in our society, and I think that's a really important message, and they're just people like you and I. It has been really amazing for me to be able to take those personal projects of mine that have to do with, activism or stories of womanhood or whatever, and kind of see that come together in a professional capacity. About 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, we spent a few days at a financial institution with the BSA officers and the fraud investigators, helping them understand our human trafficking alerts. And there were quite a few alerts that came up on human trafficking victims and human traffickers. There was one particular alert for a trafficker that the BSA officers and the investigators are really focused in on. And we found out very quickly soon after, I think it was just 2 weeks later, we found out that very quickly after they saw that alert, they contacted law enforcement directly. And not only did law enforcement go to a dwelling where this individual was indeed having that space as a space for human trafficking, but there were girls there, underage girls there, who he had planned to basically use for forced sex work. And so that is something that I was involved in, that, when we talk about fighting crime, you can't get closer to fighting crime than that without having a badge, I think.